I have two, my eldest son and his wife, Ed and Edna, and my youngest son and his wife, Sam and Kat. Context: I have known Edna her whole life. When she was 7 years old, her mom got diagnosed with cancer, so I started to help out with raising her. She and Ed were best friends, so it was easy. When she was 10, her mom passed away, so I took over all duties of raising a daughter. She started to date my son in college, and they got married later on. I genuinely look at her as my daughter, because I basically raised her. Her dad drank himself to death when she was 19 with my family. She would spend all the holidays, like school breaks, and go with us on holidays, etc. When they got married, they bought a house 4 houses down and have been living there. Now Kat is very sweet, she can cook well, and we bond in the kitchen and we get along great. But I really don't like being called Mom by her. I don't know why, but I just don't. I don't like it when people or children call me Auntie or nicknames, etc. I don't mind Edna calling me Mom because I feel like I raised her and earned that title. I have talked to her and my son many times about this. It makes me uncomfortable, and she says it shouldn't. She says it is awkward for her to call me by my first name. This New Year's dinner, she made it a point to call me Mom in every sentence, and I was annoyed. I pulled her aside and told her to knock it off, and she said it's not fair that Edna can call me Mom. But she can't. I told her that I raised Edna, so it makes sense. Edna has no family other than us, but you have a huge family with a mom that loves you very much. She said that she feels like I'm rejecting her from the family, and I told her that if, after all I have done for her, this is the thing that makes her feel isolated, then she needs help to be grateful. For context, among other things, I paid half of her college loans and helped her pay for the house they live in. She said that I'm a witch and Edna can be my favorite daughter-in-law, and it's creepy that I will babysit pups and not my grandkids because she and Sam won't ever come back. I told her to get out and be a brat somewhere else. Sam got involved and dragged Kat away. Kat lives 6 hours away, and I can't drive well, and they don't have a guest bed for me to stay the night. I pay 25% in childcare though. Edna and I have spa days once a month, a tradition since she was a teenager. So when Kat comes, we all go for a spa trip, and I always pay. Sam sent me a text asking me to apologize because it's such a small thing, and Kat is serious about her threat. I left him on red because I didn't think I need to apologize. Even my grandchildren call me by my name. They rarely call me Grandma, and they like calling me by my name. Actually, Edna doesn't call me Mom often. She does sometimes, but she always uses my name because she knows I'm comfortable with it. If Kat called me Mom once in a while, I wouldn't mind. It's just every single sentence that's directed to me ends or starts with Mom, and I feel so uncomfortable. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. If you don't want someone to call you Mom, then fair enough. You asked Kat nicely to stop, and she didn't. Only your kids call you Mom, which includes Edna. Even your grandkids call you by your name, each to their own. You raised Edna, so you see her as a daughter who just happens to be your daughter-in-law. Edna would call you Mom regardless if she was married to your son, it seems. I see where Kat can think this is unfair, but she is ignoring the fact that you raised Edna. She also ignored you and doubled down when you asked her not to be called Mom, which makes her the AH. Comment 2. Everyone sucks here. Kat ignored a boundary you set, and that is an AH behavior. I think you joined her in AH territory when you turned your relationship into, in my view, a transaction by implying that all that you have done for her means she is not entitled to her hurt feelings and feeling less accepted. That she feels that way is ungrateful, spoiled, and bratty. Kat went further into H territory by calling you a name. My perception from your post is that you're not that crazy about Kat. I wonder if all you've done for her is really for her, or for you and or your son. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a busy week, and I've got some updates for you. After the New Year's dinner blowout with Kat, things went from bad to worse. Sam, my youngest, has always been the peacemaker in the family, but this time, he was caught in the crossfire. He tried to mediate, but Kat was having none of it. She felt slighted, and her hurt was deep. Now, let's rewind a bit. Kat and I have had our ups and downs, but I've always tried to be there for her. I helped her out with her college loans, and when she and Sam were struggling to get on their feet, I chipped in for their house. I thought we had a good thing going, especially with our kitchen bonding sessions. But the mom issue has been a thorn in our relationship for a while. Edna, on the other hand, has been like a daughter to me since she was a little girl. When her mom got sick, I stepped in, and after her mom passed, I was all she had. Her dad's passing when she was 19 only cemented our bond. So, when she calls me mom, it feels natural, like an acknowledgement of the life we've shared. Back to the present, Kat's insistence on calling me mom felt like a challenge, a way to push boundaries. And when I confronted her, she lashed out, calling me names and accusing me of playing favorites. It hurt, but I stood my ground. I couldn't let her disrespect me in my own home. Sam's text asking for an apology sat unread on my phone for days. I was torn. On one hand, I didn't feel I owed an apology for setting boundaries. On the other, I didn't want to lose my son or potential time with my grandkids over this. Then, the bomb dropped. Edna came over, visibly upset. She had overheard Kat talking to Sam, saying that I was a controlling witch and that she never wanted to be part of this family. Edna was heartbroken. She couldn't understand how Kat could say such things after everything we've done for her. The injustice of it all was staggering. Here I was, trying to be fair, trying to maintain a relationship with both my daughters-in-law, and Kat was painting me as the villain. It was a slap in the face, especially considering the sacrifices I've made for her. But the drama didn't stop there. Edna, who's usually the calm one, decided to confront Kat. She reminded Kat of the times I'd helped her, of the spa days I'd paid for, of the love I'd shown her. Kat was unrepentant, saying she felt like an outsider and that Edna was the golden child. The confrontation escalated, and before I knew it, they were shouting in the street. Neighbors peeked out from behind curtains as my two daughters-in-law aired our dirty laundry for all to see. It was a spectacle I never imagined witnessing. Sam, hearing the commotion, rushed over to separate them. He was furious with both Kat and Edna, but mostly with me. He accused me of causing the rift, of not being understanding enough. I was stunned. How had I become the antagonist in my own family's story? In the midst of all this, my grandkids were caught in the middle. They didn't understand why Aunt Edna and Mommy were fighting, why Grandma wasn't Grandma to everyone. It was a mess, and I felt responsible for their confusion. The week ended with no resolution in sight. Kat and Sam returned to their home 6 hours away, and the silence on the phone was deafening. Edna was shaken, feeling like she'd lost a sister. And me? I was left wondering where it all went wrong. I've always believed in fairness and in treating my sons and their wives equally, but now I'm questioning if that's even possible. Can you treat two people the same when your history with them is so different? Is it fair to expect Kat to understand the bond Edna and I share? The house feels emptier without the laughter of my grandkids, without the occasional visits from Kat and Sam. And as I sit here, reflecting on the past week, I can't help but feel a sense of loss. A family divided, a grandmother missing her grandkids, and a fight that seems to have no end. Mother-in-law sneaks diapers on son, igniting allergy hell. We ban her babysitting and she's shocked when me, 29-year-old female, and my husband, 31-year-old male, have a son who is 3 years old and a baby girl on the way. As a baby, my son developed a severe allergy to diapers. He would get awful rashes that took a long time to heal, and nothing we tried helped much. Because of this, my husband and I decided to start potty training a bit early, when he was around 18 months old. We consulted his pediatrician and relied on cloth diapers as much as possible. After a few months of this, he had almost outgrown his allergy, but we continued with the training. Today, he is fully potty trained. He occasionally has very rare accidents, but only when he tries to delay going to the bathroom for too long. When this happens, we clean him up and change his underwear. My husband's mother strongly disagreed with our decision to potty train our son early. She insisted that it could lead to IBS and that he should wear diapers until he was at least 3 years old. She tried to convince us to change our minds for months, but we stood our ground. In early December, I had a doctor's appointment while my husband was at work, so I left our son with my mother-in-law for a couple of hours. Later on, she called me and informed me that my son had had a bathroom accident. He hadn't had one in months. I gave her instructions on what to do and where to find the spare clothes I had packed for him. I picked him up about an hour later. On our way home, he complained about feeling itchy. I didn't understand why until I prepared him for bath time later that night. He was wearing a diaper. He didn't develop any rashes, but the diaper was a few sizes too small and he hadn't worn one in a long time, so I think that's why he felt itchy. When I asked him about it, he confirmed that my mother-in-law had said he was still a baby and put him in the diaper. When my husband and I confronted her about it, she defended herself by saying that his accident was clear proof that we had made a mistake by potty training him early, and that he should go back to wearing diapers for now. She never apologized. We decided to forbid her from babysitting and from spending unsupervised time with our son. She didn't take us seriously until we visited her on Saturday. We had to go to the hospital, and instead of leaving our son with her, we brought him with us. Now that she knows we are serious, she is calling us dramatic and ungrateful. She is also claiming that we are alienating her from her grandchildren out of stubbornness. She still maintains that she was right about early potty training being a bad idea, and that she was only trying to help us. I don't think we are wrong, but this situation does feel a bit dramatic. My brother-in-law, who was skeptical of our decision in the past, thinks we are right to be angry, but believes that revoking her permission to babysit our son is still an overreaction. Am I the idiot? Edit. I want to clarify that the diaper was clean when I removed it. Also, my son will be 4 years old in February. Edit 2. My mother-in-law is not our only babysitting option. My mom and stepdad, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my best friend also babysit. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your son is literally almost 4 years old, as you state in your edit. That's definitely not early for potty training. If anything, what she's doing is regressive and going to harm him going forward. On top of that, you have a medical reason and worked with his doctor to keep him out of diapers, and she ignored all that. Why did she have diapers on hand in the first place? She seems weirdly obsessed with the fact that you have a potty-trained preschooler, which is age-appropriate, and wildly uninformed about toddler health and how potty training works. Comment 2. Not the idiot. She's clearly demonstrated that she cannot be trusted to watch him and respect your wishes or his allergy. What if, God forbid, he develops another allergy, like to a food, and she decides you're making a mistake and feeds him his allergen? I'd say maybe make it so she can earn your trust back, but I don't begin to know how, beyond the first step being a very sincere apology on her part. Now, for the update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I wanted to give you all an update on the situation with my mother-in-law. After the incident with the diaper, things between us and my mother-in-law went from bad to worse. She started a campaign to convince the rest of the family that we were being unreasonable. My husband's aunt, who had always been close to us, suddenly started dropping hints that maybe we were being too harsh. It was clear that my mother-in-law was trying to turn the family against us. But let me back up a bit. When my son was born, my mother-in-law was over the moon. She had always wanted a grandson, and she showered him with gifts and attention. However, as he grew and we made decisions she didn't agree with, like the early potty training, she became more critical. She had raised 3 children of her own and believed her experience trumped our research and the advice of our pediatrician. Now, back to the present. My husband and I were at our wits' end. We had always valued family and the idea of our son growing up surrounded by loving relatives. But we couldn't just let my mother-in-law's actions slide. We had to protect our son from her undermining our parenting. Then, a jaw-dropping moment happened. My sister, who babysits for us occasionally, overheard my mother-in-law at a family gathering. She was bragging about how she had put our son back in diapers and how it was only a matter of time before we came crawling back to her for help. My sister immediately told us, and we were livid. We decided it was time for a confrontation. We invited my mother-in-law over for a talk, making it clear that this was serious. When she arrived, she was all smiles, thinking she had won. But as we laid out how her actions had hurt us and our son, her smile faded. We explained that trust was the foundation of our relationship and that she had broken it. She tried to defend herself, saying she had only done what she thought was best for our son. But when my husband brought up the conversation my sister had overheard, she was speechless. She had been caught red-handed, and she knew it. In the end, we told her that until she could respect our decisions as parents, she would not be allowed unsupervised visits with our son. It was a tough decision, but we had to stand our ground. The fallout was immediate. Some family members took her side, while others supported us, but something unexpected happened. My brother-in-law, who had been skeptical of our decision to potty train early, came to us privately. He admitted that he had seen a change in our son, how confident and happy he was, and he now believed we had made the right choice. He offered to mediate between us and my mother-in-law, hoping to mend fences. It took a week of tense discussions, but finally, my mother-in-law came to us, contrite. She admitted she had overstepped and promised to respect our parenting choices in the future. She asked for a chance to rebuild trust, and we agreed to give her that chance, albeit cautiously. Friend's kid wrecks my collection, so I ban them from the party. They confront me, and I'm hit with a twist I never saw coming. I'm a 31-year-old male. I usually host New Year parties at my house. I have a considerable amount of amiibo figures that I have collected over the years enclosed in a glass showcase with a key. I keep it locked because 2 of my female friends have kids, and I like having them over. It's fine. The thing is, I have 3 mom friends in my group. Let's call her Lucy, and she has a 6-year-old son. Last New Year, 2022-2023, I forgot the key in the showcase, and he played with my amiibos. He just played, but he ended up ripping them off the bases, damaging a few. For example, Link became legless. I complained and asked her to pay me back for the damaged ones, but she just ridiculed it and brushed it off. So this year, out of a small amount of spite, I didn't invite her. No one at the party even seemed to notice. Today, I got an angry text from her, saying that she really likes my party, and it's a shame I forgot she was my friend, and why didn't I invite her? I said it was because of what happened last year, that I didn't want her child near my collection again. She said I was childish, which I admit. Regarding some aspects of my personality, and regarding damaging my stuff, I am, and said I was an and that wasn't a reason to not invite someone, and that her child was just playing. Some friends say that it's okay, that it's understandable. Even my 2 other friends with kids who have known me for years understand. And others agree that I'm the AH. So Reddit, am I the idiot? Edit for clarification. It was locked. I just left the key in the keyhole after dusting the showcase because it was getting dirty with dust. I don't mind my friends bringing their children to my house/parties, as I usually babysit my blood nieces and my nephews from my friends/my godson. So I have plenty of toys and a PS3 in a room where they hang out, play and stuff, where there are also DVDs and puzzles. My amiibos and books are in my home office, which is usually off limits. But that's where everyone leaves their coats/purses, because that's where my wall hangers are. I don't have children. My boyfriend and I only have a small dog. I don't blame the kid. I worded it wrong. He was the catalyst for the disaster, sure, and I know it was my fault that he had access to them. I didn't insist she pay for it. The total cost of what I could replace and what couldn't be saved was €136 over a few months. I'm still looking to replace Rivali's amiibo because he is part of a set, and none of the others were damaged, and I don't want to buy the whole set again. I've been collecting them since I was 18. A lot of them were gifted to me by friends who know that I care for these little things, not caring that it is childish. They are not toys. They are statuettes. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, dude. Your place, your rules. It's totally fair to not invite someone whose kid wrecked your stuff, especially if they didn't even offer to fix or replace it. Amiibos might be toys to some, but they're your collection, and they matter to you. Lucy brushing off the damage and calling you childish is pretty rich. You have every right to protect your belongings. Not inviting her is just setting boundaries, not being petty. If she can't respect your stuff, she doesn't get an invite. Simple as that. You're good, man. Comment 2. Not the idiot. If I was a guest in someone else's house and my 6-year-old not only got into things they weren't supposed to touch, but then broke anything, I would apologize and offer to pay for it before the owner even asked me to. It is never too late to apologize, and yet she would sooner play dumb, double down, and call you names. You are within your rights to set boundaries and dole out a consequence for not respecting them. Now, for the update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I've got to say, things have taken some unexpected turns. I thought not inviting Lucy to my New Year's party would be the end of it, but boy was I wrong. After Lucy's angry text, I felt a mix of guilt and frustration. I mean, I've known her since college, and we've been through a lot together. She was there when I got my first amiibo, a Kirby that I still have in pristine condition. We used to play video games for hours, and she knew how much these figures meant to me. But her reaction to her son damaging them last year really stung. I talked to my boyfriend about the whole situation, and he's always been the level-headed one. He suggested maybe I could have handled it better, but he understood why I did what I did. Our dog, a little beagle named Max, seemed to pick up on the tension and was extra cuddly those days. Then, 2 days after the party, I got a knock on my door. It was Lucy, and she had her son with her. She came to apologize, which was a surprise. Her son had a little envelope with what looked like all his savings, and he handed it to me, saying he was sorry for breaking my amiibos. It was a touching moment, and I couldn't stay mad at the kid. I told him it was okay, and that I appreciated his apology. Lucy and I talked, and it seemed like we were on the path to mending our friendship. But here's where things got complicated. One of my other mom friends, let's call her Sarah, found out about Lucy's visit. Sarah has always been competitive, especially since we both started collecting amiibos around the same time. She's the kind of person who always has to one-up everyone else. I remember when I got my rare villager amiibo, she went out of her way to find one too, just to show it off. Sarah confronted me, accusing me of playing favorites and saying I was unfair for forgiving Lucy so easily. She brought up the time her daughter accidentally spilled juice on my carpet, and how I had been understanding then. I tried to explain that it was different, but she wouldn't have it. She claimed I valued my collection more than our friendship, and it turned into a heated argument. The next day, I found out that Sarah had been talking to the rest of our friend group, stirring up drama. She told them I had accepted money from Lucy's son, which wasn't true. I had given the envelope back to Lucy, telling her that her son's apology was enough. But Sarah's version of the story made me look like I was extorting a child. My phone blew up with messages from friends taking sides. Some were supportive, understanding the sentimental value of my collection. Others felt I was being too harsh and should just let it go. It was a mess, and I felt like I was in the middle of a storm I didn't want to be part of. Then, in a twist I didn't see coming, my boyfriend sat me down for a serious talk. He said he was worried about how much the amiibos and the drama were affecting me. He reminded me of the time we first met, at a gaming convention, and how I had been more carefree and less attached to material things. He missed that version of me, and he was concerned that I was losing sight of what was important. I was heartbroken. I hadn't realized how much this whole ordeal had changed me. I was so focused on my collection and being right that I didn't see the strain it was putting on my relationships. My boyfriend's words hit me hard, and I knew I had to make some changes. I decided to reach out to Sarah to clear the air. We met at a local cafe, and I explained everything. I told her about the envelope and how I never took the money. I apologized for any misunderstanding and for not being more communicative. It was a tense meeting, but by the end, we agreed to put the drama behind us. As for Lucy, we've started to rebuild our friendship. She's been more respectful of my space and my collection, and her son hasn't been near my amiibos since. It's going to take time, but I'm hopeful. The whole experience has been a lesson in priorities and forgiveness. I've started to spend less time worrying about my amiibos and more time enjoying the company of my friends and my boyfriend. Max seems happier too, now that the tension has eased. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!